State Superintendent Glenda Ritz is running for governor. Appearing at an Indianapolis high school Thursday, Ritz became the third person to enter the Democratic primary, calling herself the best candidate to beat incumbent Governor Mike Pence.
I am asking you to help me become your 51st governor so that we can have leadership that listens to all sides and that respects the diversity of our great state.
The educator says she made the decision to challenge Pence after this past legislative session, referencing efforts to strip power from the Department of Education and shift it to the GOP-controlled State Board of Education. She also cited what she calls the disaster created by Republican leadership over the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Ritz will now face off in the primary against former House Speaker John Gregg and longtime State Senator Karen Tallien. And the state superintendent says despite spending most of her career in the education arena, she has the experience necessary to govern the whole state.
You're going to see that I actually have quite a bit of knowledge and experience in a variety of areas. Education is the catalyst to move the economy forward. We got to have that connection, that close connection, to make sure that that happens.
Ritz's announcement has excited many of those who supported her 2012 run for the state schools chief position, but others say the former librarian and first-term executive official is stepping outside her wheelhouse. Here to discuss the policies and politics of the lifelong educator is education blogger Steve Hennefield. Welcome, Steve, to the show. You know, we've heard the superintendent just say in that piece that she thinks she'll be able to reach outside of the education area. How does she make herself appeal to those voters outside of education?
Well, I think that's a big question. I think she has a number of months to do that between now and the Democratic primary to demonstrate that she could be more than just an education policy person as governor while not losing any of the enthusiasm and support of her base, which are supporters who are mostly involved with education.
But that's where she was mostly yesterday, or I should say Thursday, at schools and libraries to announce her campaign. Do you think she'll start to break free from that?
I think it's hard to say exactly how she'll pursue the campaign. I think she'll probably try to continue to build that enthusiasm to kind of energize those people who supported her for state superintendent and have continued to support her in her sort of battles with Governor Pence. So that's going to be, I think she's going to be involved in working with education, but she's going to have to show that she's knowledgeable about some other issues as well.
Well, and before we even get to Governor Pence, she's going to be running against some political heavy hitters. We mentioned in the story too John Gregg and Karen Tallien. How can Ritz set herself apart in the primary with those?
Well, I think education is probably where she starts. She's the person who is most engaged in education of those candidates. And beyond that, it will be kind of interesting to see, but I think that we'll hear a lot about education. Her supporters are going to be more focused on that than on other things. I think also people will sort of position themselves to a certain extent on the political spectrum. John Gregg has a long-time record as a moderate Democrat, even a conservative Democrat on some issues, and so she may be positioning herself to the left of him on certain issues as well.
But now she goes back to being superintendent. How does she balance these two things?
I think, it's important to remember that if she weren't running for governor, she'd probably be running for re-election as state superintendent, so, which is also a statewide elected office. So there's sort of no way to avoid the politics of it. On the other hand, it's probably important to note that the 8 of the other members of the State Board of Education are appointed by Governor Pence, who would conceivably be her opponent in 2016. And so they are probably aware of that, and there could be some political difficulties at those board meetings.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.